Hi, it's Alice Daniels, and today we have a special guest speaker named Stephen Chbosky. He is the author of the newest movie that was based on a book called Perks of Being a Wallflower. He is also the director of this movie. And, well, let's get right to the questions. Okay, Stephen, thank you for coming. First question, what do you think of when high school comes to mind?
Yes, thank you, Alice, so much for having me. It is a great pleasure. When I think of high school, I think of dances, pretty much, and I do think of soccer because I loved playing the sport in high school. I also think of pressure because I know what it's like to have all this pressure on you when you're trying to find the right school and you are trying to envision a future that's a little out of your reach, you know, high school stuff.
What kind of books do you like to read?
Oh god, I love Stephen King. He is one of my favorite. He's actually my all-time favorite writers. I have read his work more than I have read anyone else's work. It's really great. I kind of want to punch him for being so great. It's just, yeah, that's my favorite author right there.
How do you feel about your books being banned in certain schools in certain areas?
My books being banned at first was like, I was actually kind of excited because, wow, people are actually thinking about my book this way. They're discussing it with this topic in this manner. But after like the 7th time, it just kind of got, it was just boring. I wasn't excited, and it was really sad because they were banning the book for silly reasons. I gotta understand that the book Perks of Being a Wallflower does have sexual content and drug abuse, all for teenagers too. But Charlie, the main character, well, when he's like 11, he witnesses a date rape, and there is much more sex in the book, but it's all leads to a lesson in life. And that lesson is basically just, you kind of have to go through, not a lesson, you go through this, and it's real. And I'm thinking that some of these people who are banning the book, they don't want to accept the fact that it's real. They don't want to say, oh yes, this happens. And I think one of the purposes for me writing this book was I wanted kids to know that this happens to a lot of people. Things like this happen. It's the real world, and it's really sad that these adults are trying to like censor the real world from their children. I don't know, it's really kind of sad.
As a writer, how does it feel knowing that you have saved lives through your work?
Wow, it is one of the greatest things you can be told as a writer. It really changes you. It changes your life, hearing that you've changed someone else's life. I will always remember like the first letter I got. It was a girl, and she said that my book, Perks of Being a Wallflower, stopped her from killing herself. And that really hit me. It was really overwhelming. I was so happy, but at the same time, I was also pretty sad because it came to the point where this girl was so sad and so depressed that she wanted to take her life. But all that was there for her was a book. No one else to listen to her, none of her parents or friends, people who are supposed to be there for you, but a book by someone she doesn't know in this story that didn't even happen. It just kind of hurts knowing that this happens too.
How did you decide that you wanted to bring Perks of Being a Wallflower onto the big screen?
Well, a lot of people came to me, but they wanted to buy my book. They wanted to start a script of their own. but this is my book. I wrote this book, and if it's gonna be on the big screen, I want to write it. I have written screenplays before writing, and while I was in college, and I wanted this to be my creation. This is my creation, and since I did base a lot of the book around my life, I wanted to put myself into the movie as well. So one day my agent came up to me and said, he offered the idea of making it into a screenplay. Again, he brought up the idea again, and since I have around this time met a lot of people who are into making a movie, and they were talking about it with me, and they're like, oh yeah, we can all make this a great movie, a great film. And since it's a great book, says them, it is a great book, I know, since we could just make like one of the greatest movies ever and have a bunch of great actors, and it's just going to be awesome. And so around 2011 is when we finally started calling out some great actors. We had Emma Watson from Harry Potter. Yeah, I picked her for Sam. She's just so herself, and so she's just really real, just like Sam. And I wanted someone to portray her humanity. I wanted someone to portray her like just her and all of her realness. Does this make sense? Okay, whatever. And so yeah, around that time, then we started filming, and it came out recently, and it's been doing pretty good, and I'm really happy with the movie. I got to like keep it true to the book, like a lot of movies that are based off of books are quite different, and that upsets me because I love books, and I don't want my favorite books to be ruined through movies. Who or what inspires you when you write? Some influences include, well, one of the most important books in my life to my writing career is Catcher in the Rye, and what I love about this book is that one of the themes is innocence meets reality, and that's what I wanted to include in Perks of Being a Wallflower, because I think, well, obviously everyone grows up eventually. Everyone is born into this world innocent, and they grow into this human being who just eventually has seen pretty much everything. And I guess, like Holden Caulfield in the book Catcher in the Rye, he was exposed to reality probably a bit too early for him, or for this time anyway, and he was just so cynical with his life, and that's kind of how I wanted to see Charlie, the main character, because that's how a lot of children or teenagers are. A lot of them are cynical and they hate everybody. I myself hated everyone as a teenager, and I was really cynical, and I was angry with the world, but what teenager isn't? But Charlie, in a lot of ways, is like me meets Caulfield. How do you develop your characters and your stories? Well, like I just said, my characters are developed through personal experience, or how I just feel would be real. A lot of this is real. I just need a lot of reality, because there is no fairy tale in the world. This is really as simple and down to earth as it can get. So yes, I base a lot of my characters off of personal references and just how I feel. Characters I feel that need to be with the characters that I base off of myself. And a lot of, like, every character I write is based off of something that I have experienced, or someone else has experienced, or I've read, or I've heard of, or something that has influenced me. Like people, like, oh no, just teenagers in general. I have met plenty of teenagers, just anybody. Teenagers from like 12, that's like teenager, to 25, who are just telling me like all these really depressing stories, and they're telling me, or whoever they're talking to, how they're just so broken, and they think it's because they blame themselves, or they blame society, and I would agree that it is society. I don't think it's ever your own fault. I don't think you're at your own fault for something like, I don't know, maybe you don't have a house to live in or a place to stay. That's not your fault, unless it truly is your fault. Never mind. What? Derp. Hey. I don't think you're truly at fault at anything. I don't think there is anyone to blame, but society really is screwed up, especially today's including from the time that Charlie is in 1991 and 1992 area. Yeah. And final question. Do you have a message for any adolescents or anybody in general who is going through a rough time right now and they just feel so trapped in their lives, or are just in complete depression right now? The message I would like to include for everyone: there is someone somewhere out there who just is going through the same thing. You are never alone, ever. You matter, you are important, and you, trust me, you matter to someone. You matter to me. I love you. You are amazing. You are a perfect person. And suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It is never the answer, ever. And neither is self-harm. Nothing. Just, you're wonderful, okay? You are amazing. All of you are. And there is someone somewhere out there who knows exactly what you're going through. And so you should never give up. You should just keep fighting, because it gets better. It really does. Promise me. Promise. From me. Okay, thank you, Stephen. It was so nice meeting you. Tune in next time for whatever interview that I happen to stumble upon. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed Stephen and his wonderful greatness. And I really hope you guys read the book and see the movie, because it is just a bunch of perfection in a pile, and it is amazing. And I really hope everyone watches it. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.